You wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, sheets tangled around your legs. The dream is still vivid, so vivid you can almost touch it. Maybe you were falling through endless darkness or running from something you couldn't see. Maybe you were back in your childhood home, but everything was slightly wrong, slightly off. Or perhaps you were standing in front of a crowd, suddenly realizing you'd forgotten something crucial, something everyone else seemed to know. And then, as you lie there in the darkness, trying to slow your breathing, you think, what was that about? Why did my mind create this strange, unsettling theater? Was it just random noise, the brain sorting through its daily clutter like some biological filing system? Or was it trying to tell you something you're not quite ready to hear? Most of us dismiss our dreams as meaningless. We laugh about the absurdity of them over morning coffee, the talking animals, the impossible physics, the way our dead grandmother appeared younger than we've ever known her, offering advice in a language we somehow understood but can't remember. We treat them like glitches, strange byproducts of a sleeping brain with nothing better to do. But what if that's exactly what they want us to think? What if our dreams are actually whispers from a part of ourselves we've learned to ignore, speaking in the only language it knows, a language of symbols, emotions, and hidden meanings that slip past the guards we post at the gates of our waking consciousness? There's something deeply unsettling about this possibility, isn't there? The idea that every night while we sleep, another version of ourselves takes the stage, a version that knows things we don't, or perhaps knows things we refuse to know, a version that remembers what we've worked so hard to forget, that feels what we've trained ourselves not to feel, that wants what we've convinced ourselves we shouldn't want. This is the territory Sigmund Freud dared to explore over a century ago, and what he found there still haunts us today, because he suggested something radical, something that challenges our comfortable belief that we are in control of our own minds. He said that dreams are not random at all. They are purposeful, intentional, meaningful. They are the royal road to the unconscious, he wrote. And if we dared to travel that road, we might discover truths about ourselves that change everything. Think about the dreams that stay with you. Not all dreams linger, do they? Most dissolve like sugar in water the moment you open your eyes. But some dreams, they cling. They follow you through your morning routine, shadowing your thoughts as you brush your teeth, hovering at the edge of your awareness as you go about your day. The dream where you're searching for something in a house with endless rooms, each one familiar yet strange. The dream where you're trying to speak, but no sound comes out. Or you're trying to run, but your legs move through air thick as honey. The dream where someone you love is there, and then they're not. And you wake with a grief so profound it takes minutes to remember they're actually fine, actually safe, actually alive. These dreams that won't let go, why do they persist? What makes them different? Freud would say they persist because they matter. Because underneath the bizarre imagery and impossible logic, they're trying to show you something real, something true about your inner world that your waking mind works tirelessly to keep hidden. You see, we spend our days being reasonable, appropriate, socially acceptable. We smile when we're angry. We stay silent when we want to scream. We do what we're supposed to do, even when every fiber of our being wants to do something else. We've learned to be good at this, so good that we've forgotten we're even doing it. We've internalized so many rules, so many shoulds and shouldn'ts, that we've lost touch with the raw, unfiltered truth of what we actually feel, what we actually want, what we actually fear. But the unconscious mind doesn't forget. It can't forget. It holds everything, every experience that shaped you, every emotion you swallowed, every desire you deemed unacceptable, every fear you couldn't face. And at night, when the conscious mind finally quiets, when the vigilant gatekeeper of rationality steps aside, the unconscious gets its moment. It rises to the surface and speaks. But it doesn't speak in the clear, direct language of daylight. It speaks in metaphor, in symbol, in emotional truths dressed up as impossible scenarios. It creates what Freud called the manifest content, the actual storyline of the dream, the surface-level narrative, to disguise what he called the latent content, the hidden meaning beneath, the real message your unconscious is trying to deliver. This is where it gets fascinating and a little uncomfortable, because if you accept this premise, then every strange element in your dreams suddenly becomes a clue. That house you keep returning to in your sleep, maybe it's not just a house. Maybe it represents your psyche, your sense of self, and those locked rooms you can't enter are parts of yourself you're not yet ready to explore. That person chasing you through dark streets, maybe they're not an external threat at all. Maybe they represent an aspect of yourself you're running from, some quality or emotion you've labeled as dangerous and have spent years trying to escape. That exam you forgot to study for, that presentation where you suddenly realize you're naked. Maybe these aren't about actual exams or presentations. Maybe they're about deeper fears of inadequacy, of being exposed, of not measuring up to some invisible standard you've been carrying since childhood. Consider how often we dream of being unprepared. It's one of the most common dreams across cultures and generations, showing up somewhere important without your pants, or realizing you never attended a class you're supposed to take a final exam for, or standing before an audience with nothing to say. On the surface, these seem like anxiety dreams about performance and social judgment. And yes, that's part of it. But dig deeper, and what are they really about? They're about vulnerability, about the fear that if people saw the real you, unpolished, unprepared, unarmored, they would find you lacking. They're about the exhausting work of maintaining an acceptable face to the world and the terror of what might happen if that mask slips. Your unconscious is showing you how much energy you spend on this, how afraid you are of being truly seen. Or think about dreams of falling. That sudden lurch, that stomach-dropping sensation of nothing beneath you, the ground rushing up to meet you as you plummet through empty space. We've all had this dream, often just as we're drifting off to sleep, and it jolts us awake with a gasp. It feels purely physical, doesn't it? Just the body misfiring as consciousness fades. But Freud would ask you to consider what falling represents in your waking life. Where do you feel unsupported? Where do you feel like you're losing control, losing your grip, losing your footing? Is there some area of your life where you're pretending to be solid ground when actually you feel like you're free falling? The unconscious takes this emotional reality, this sense of groundlessness, of being unmoored, and translates it into a physical sensation your body can understand. Then there are the dreams about loved ones who have died. These can be the most emotionally intense dreams of all. You're with them again, and in the dream, you somehow know they've been gone, yet here they are, warm and solid and real. You talk to them, touch them, feel the impossible joy of their presence, and then you wake up and the loss hits you all over again, fresh as the day they left. These dreams can feel cruel, can't they? Like the unconscious is torturing you, making you relive the grief. But Freud would suggest something different. He'd say these dreams are actually a form of processing, of healing. They allow you to have conversations you never got to have, to say things left unsaid, to work through unresolved feelings in a space where time and death don't have the final word. Your unconscious is giving you a gift, even if it hurts, the gift of completion, of continuing relationship, of acknowledging that the people who shape us don't simply disappear from our inner world when they leave the outer one. This protective disguise is what Freud called dream work, the process by which latent content gets transformed into manifest content. The unconscious acts like a creative filmmaker, taking the raw material of your hidden emotions and conflicts and turning them into a symbolic narrative. It condenses multiple ideas into single images. It displaces the emotional intensity from one thing to another. It represents abstract concepts through concrete symbols. A feeling of being trapped in your career might become a dream of being physically locked in a room. A complicated relationship with authority might show up as a dream about your boss morphing into your father. Sexual desire that you've deemed inappropriate might disguise itself as something entirely different. A dream about eating forbidden food, or entering a restricted space, or stealing something valuable. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The symbols that appear in our dreams are not entirely personal. Yes, they're filtered through our individual experiences and associations, but Freud noticed that certain symbols appear across dreamers, different cultures, suggesting they tap into something universal about the human psyche. Houses often represent the self. Water frequently symbolizes emotions or the unconscious itself. Journeys might represent life transitions. Death in dreams rarely means actual death. It usually symbolizes endings, transformations, the death of old ways of being. Your unconscious speaks in this rich, ancient symbolic language, drawing on both your personal history and something deeper, something collectively human. But here's what matters most. Understanding your dreams isn't about becoming an expert in universal symbolism. It's not about looking up what falling or flying or teeth falling out means in some dream dictionary. That would miss the entire point. The real power comes from learning to listen to your own unconscious, to recognize the patterns and themes that repeat in your personal dream life, to understand what specific symbols mean to you based on your unique history and associations. It's about developing a relationship with this other part of yourself, this part that sees clearly what your waking mind prefers to keep fuzzy. Think about it. If you have a recurring dream, the same scenario playing out night after night or returning periodically over months or years, your unconscious is basically screaming at you. It's trying desperately to get a message through, and it keeps sending the same signal because you haven't received it yet. Maybe you dream repeatedly about missing a flight, about doors that won't open no matter how hard you push, about driving a car that won't respond to the steering wheel. These repetitions are urgent communications from the part of you that knows something your conscious mind is refusing to acknowledge. You're missing opportunities. You feel blocked. You're not in control of the direction your life is taking. And until you consciously recognize and address these truths, the dreams will keep coming. Variations on the same theme, trying to wake you up to what you're not seeing. This is where dreams become not just interesting, but potentially transformative. Because once you start paying attention to them, really paying attention, treating them as meaningful rather than dismissible, you begin to notice patterns. You start to see how your dream life reflects and amplifies what's happening in your emotional life. You might notice that during times of stress at work, you dream about being chased or attacked. During periods of creative stagnation, you might dream about being unable to speak or communicate. When you're avoiding a difficult conversation, you might dream about missing important calls or arriving too late to something crucial. The dreams are showing you, in their symbolic language, exactly what you're experiencing but not fully acknowledging. And here's the profound part. This awareness can change things. When you bring unconscious material into consciousness, when you recognize and name the fears, desires, and conflicts your dreams are revealing, they lose some of their power over you. It's like turning on a light in a dark room where something has been lurking. The thing doesn't disappear, but you can see it clearly now. You can decide what to do about it. That recurring dream about being trapped might finally stop once you acknowledge that yes, you do feel stuck in your current situation, and yes, it's time to make a change. That dream about the disapproving parent might soften once you recognize that you're still living according to rules and expectations you internalized decades ago, and you have the power to question them now. Freud believed that dreams serve a wish fulfillment function. This doesn't mean every dream is about getting what you consciously want. In fact, many dreams seem to be the opposite of wish fulfillment. But at a deeper level, even anxiety dreams are serving a purpose. They're allowing you to rehearse fears in a safe space. They're helping you process difficult emotions. They're letting forbidden desires surface in disguised form. The wish being fulfilled might be the wish to understand yourself, to integrate conflicting parts of your psyche, to work through trauma or loss or confusion. The unconscious wants you to be whole. It wants you to know yourself fully. And dreams are one of its primary tools for moving you toward that wholeness. This is why dream work can be so powerful as part of personal growth and healing. When you sit with a dream that disturbed you, when you explore its imagery and emotions without judging them, when you ask yourself what associations each element brings up for you, you're essentially having a conversation with yourself, a conversation between your conscious and unconscious minds. And in that conversation, insights emerge, connections form. Pieces of your inner puzzle start to fit together in ways you couldn't see before. You might realize that the anger you felt in a dream toward a stranger actually represents anger toward yourself. Or that the house you keep returning to in your sleep is the house where you learned to hide your true feelings as a child. Or that the mysterious figure who appears to guide you represents a part of yourself you've been ignoring, your intuition, your creativity, your strength.
What's particularly beautiful about this process is how it cultivates self-compassion. When you understand that your anxiety dreams aren't random punishments, but meaningful communications, you can meet them with curiosity instead of fear. When you recognize that the parts of yourself that show up in nightmares, the angry parts, the needy parts, the chaotic parts, are just aspects of you trying to be heard and integrated, you can approach them with gentleness instead of rejection. Your dreams reveal that you're more complex, more conflicted, more human than you usually allow yourself to be in daylight. And there's something deeply relieving about that acknowledgement. It means you can stop pretending to have it all together. It means you can be honest with yourself about what you're actually feeling and experiencing. Of course, Freud's theories about dreams have evolved and been debated for over a century now. Modern neuroscience has added layers of understanding about what happens in the brain during different sleep stages, how memory consolidation works, how random neural firing might contribute to dream content. Not every psychologist accepts Freud's interpretations, and that's okay. But what remains valuable, even essential, is his core insight. Our dreams matter. They're not just biological noise, they reflect something real about our inner lives. Whether you subscribe to Freudian theory specifically or not, paying attention to your dreams, treating them as messages from a part of yourself that deserves to be heard, can open doors to self-understanding that remain closed otherwise. Because here's what we often forget in our busy, distracted, outwardly focused modern lives. We are not transparent to ourselves. We don't know ourselves nearly as well as we think we do. We carry blind spots, defense mechanisms, unconscious beliefs that shape our choices and reactions without our awareness. We repeat patterns we don't understand. We feel emotions we can't quite name. We want things we can't admit. And all of this, the hidden architecture of who we are, is trying to communicate with us constantly. Through slips of the tongue, through the art and stories that move us, through the sudden emotions that rise seemingly from nowhere, and through our dreams. Your dreams are offering you a map of your interior landscape drawn by someone who knows that territory intimately because they live there, the unconscious you. Learning to read that map doesn't require years of psychoanalysis, though therapy can certainly help. It just requires a willingness to listen, to be curious rather than dismissive, to sit with uncomfortable truths when they surface. It means keeping a dream journal, perhaps, writing down what you remember before it fades. It means asking yourself, when a dream lingers, what was I feeling in this dream? What does this symbol or situation mean to me personally? Where in my waking life do I experience emotions similar to what I felt in the dream? What might my unconscious be trying to show me? These questions won't always yield immediate answers. Sometimes you'll sit with a dream for days, months, even years before its meaning clicks into place. Sometimes the significance only becomes clear in retrospect, when you look back and realize that dream you had 6 months ago was trying to warn you about something, or prepare you for something, or remind you of something you'd forgotten. The unconscious doesn't operate on your conscious timeline. It's patient. It will keep sending the message until you're ready to receive it. And sometimes, honestly, dreams are just strange. They're the mind playing, experimenting, creating surreal art for an audience of one. Not every dream needs to be decoded. Not every symbol carries profound meaning. There's a balance here between taking dreams seriously and becoming obsessed with extracting significance from every bizarre narrative your sleeping mind produces. The key is noticing which dreams carry emotional weight, which ones recur, which ones you can't shake. Those are the ones asking for your attention.
Those are the ones your unconscious really wants you to hear. What Freud gave us, beyond any specific interpretation, was permission to take our inner lives seriously. He said that the strange, irrational, often embarrassing contents of our unconscious minds are not shameful aberrations to be ignored. They're valuable information about who we are beneath the surface we present to the world. He insisted that self-knowledge requires looking at the parts of ourselves we'd rather not see, listening to the voices we'd rather not hear, acknowledging the desires and fears we've learned to hide even from ourselves. And dreams, in their nightly performances, offer us this opportunity to witness ourselves without the usual filters and defenses, to see truths that daylight obscures. So tonight, when you close your eyes and drift into sleep, something remarkable will happen. The version of yourself that lives below conscious awareness will take the stage. It will create worlds, scenarios, impossible physics, and emotional truths wrapped in symbolic clothing. It will speak to you in the only language it knows, trying to show you something, teach you something, remind you of something you'd forgotten. And maybe, if you're listening, if you're willing to meet these nocturnal messages with curiosity and openness, you'll begin to understand. You'll begin to hear what your dreams have been trying to tell you all along. Because your dreams aren't random. They never were. They're you talking to yourself in the deepest possible conversation, one that continues whether you're paying attention or not. The question is not whether your unconscious is speaking, it's whether you're finally ready to listen, whether you're brave enough to decode what it's been saying night after night in that strange and sacred language of symbols and emotions that is entirely, uniquely, powerfully yours. And in that listening, in that decoding, you might discover not just what your dreams mean, but something even more important, who you truly are beneath all the layers of who you've learned to be. That's the gift your dreams offer every night. That's the wisdom waiting in the darkness. All you have to do is remember when you wake.